Someone watching this right now has been living two lives. The one everyone sees, and the one that's been running underneath, quiet, heavy, and mostly alone. You've been showing up. You've been functional. You've been fine. But fine has been costing you everything, hasn't it? The version of your life you edited down because wanting it fully felt dangerous, felt naive, felt like setting yourself up. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've known for a long time. That version of your life is not gone. It didn't expire while you were waiting. It is coming. And it is coming on a timeline that is closer than you have been allowing yourself to believe. Hey loves, welcome back. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Alice. So glad you're here today because honestly, this is a fated window, a real breakthrough moment. Here's what I need you to take seriously before we move on. The universe responds to movement, not grand gestures, small, genuine acts of showing up. Like this video, leave a comment, hit subscribe. That's you saying, I am here. I am paying attention. I am not letting this pass me by. Let that be your first act of showing up for the chapter that's about to begin. Stay with me all the way through. There's a lot here, and it's all for you. The world came in first, and I want to be honest, this one caught me off guard in this position. Because most people expect this card at the end of a reading. It's a completion card. So when it lands first, it's doing something different. It's not talking about finishing something. It's talking about you. About who you already are, not what you're still trying to become. And the specific thing it's pointing at is this. You are not a random person who happened to click on a video today. You have been moving towards something for a long time. Something you couldn't fully name. Something that felt too big to say out loud. And the world in this position is saying that movement was never random. It was always going somewhere real. Some of you have felt it since you were kids. This low hum underneath everything. This sense that you were built for something that the world around you just wasn't reflecting back yet. And you didn't know what to do with that feeling because nothing on the outside matched it. So you did what made sense. You started waiting for the outside to catch up. And in the meantime, you got very good at functioning, at being fine, at not making a big deal of it. That's over. The world doesn't show up to tell you to keep waiting. It shows up to say, the thing you were always moving toward is the thing you're moving into right now. Then the Ace of Wands came in right behind it. And honestly, that pairing, I wasn't expecting it to hit that hard. The Ace is pure ignition. Not potential, actual ignition. The split second where the spark catches and everything that was sitting still starts moving. And it came in right next to the world, which means this is not about something warming up in the distance. This is about something that is already lit and already in your hands. For a lot of you, the pattern has been something arrives. An opportunity, a pull, a moment where something clicks. And instead of moving, you pause. You wait for one more sign. One more confirmation that it's real and it's safe and you're not going to look foolish. And by the time you've talked yourself into it, the window has shifted. This pairing is saying, not this time. The fire is already lit. The only question is whether you pick it up and run with it, or set it down because it feels like too much to hold. Practical hook. What is one thing, one specific thing that has been sitting in the back of your mind as, I should really move on that? Not 10 things. 1. Write it down right now. That's the thing the Ace of Wands is pointing at. The Four of Cups. Okay, and I need to say this because people get this card wrong constantly. This is not about apathy. It is not saying you've been checked out or ungrateful or lazy. What it's actually pointing at is something much more specific. The part of you that has always felt just a little out of step with everyone around you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Since you were young. That feeling of looking around a room and thinking, why does this feel different for me? The things that landed on you didn't seem to land the same way on others. The tension in a room before anyone said a word. the mood of a person trying very hard to look fine. You picked it up. You always did. And for a long time, you treated that like a problem. You spent years trying to turn the volume down, wondering why you couldn't just be easier, lighter, less affected by everything. And somewhere along the way, the story became, I'm too much. I'm too sensitive. Something is off about the way I'm wired. That story is wrong, and the Four of Cups is here specifically to say so. Then the moon came in, and I'll be honest, that pairing hit me in a way I wasn't fully prepared for. Because the moon shows up when something true has been living underneath the surface for a long time. Something you've been circling without quite landing on. And it is done being subtle. Here's what it's saying, plainly. The sensitivity you've been apologizing for your whole life is not a flaw in your wiring. It is the wiring. The way you read between the lines, the way you feel the undercurrent before it surfaces, the way you have always known things without being able to explain how. That is not an accident. That is the exact shape of what you were built to do. The outsider feeling, that low hum of, I don't quite fit here, was never evidence that something was wrong with you. It was evidence that you were operating on a different frequency. Not broken, just different. And the people who build things that actually last, who connect with others in ways that cut through the noise, they are almost never the ones who felt at home everywhere. They are almost always the ones who felt exactly what you felt. You were not too sensitive. You were surrounded by people who weren't sensitive enough to understand it. That is a very different thing. Practical hook. Where in your life right now are you still apologizing for your sensitivity, or shrinking it to make someone else more comfortable? Name it, just one place. Because that is the exact thing the moon is asking you to stop doing. The Six of Wands. Okay, the timing on this card is not casual. I want to be really specific about that. This is not about recognition you still have to go earn somewhere in the future. It came in pointing at something already in motion, and the window it's pointing at is June. Not summer in a general, hopeful, eventually kind of way. June. That is when this energy becomes visible from the outside in a way it hasn't been before. Some of you have been doing real work quietly for a long time, building something that has not yet had its moment to land publicly. You've felt that gap between what you're actually capable of and what the world has been allowed to see. That gap starts closing in June. And here's the thing I want you to sit with. Do you actually know what the thing is? Specifically, because a lot of you have been sitting on something real without fully naming it, because claiming it felt like too much, like you were getting ahead of yourself. It is not too much, and it is not happening to someone else. It is happening to you. Then the Page of Pentacles came in, and honestly, this pairing made everything click. The Page is not about raw talent. It is about the deliberate, practical application of a gift. And the gift it's pointing at is the exact thing we already talked about. The sensitivity, the ability to read a room, the way you pick up on what's underneath a conversation, the real need, the real fear, the real question behind the question. That is not just a personality trait. That is a skill with direct, concrete, real-world value when you use it with intention. Some of you have been giving that skill away for free your entire life. You're the person everyone comes to. And you've been doing it without recognition, without compensation, without even fully realizing that what you were doing was rare. That is done. The shift the Page of Pentacles is showing me is this. From unconsciously using this gift to consciously choosing when, how, and for whom you deploy it. Financial freedom is not a separate track from who you are. It is the direct result of understanding what you carry and deciding to stop giving it away for nothing. And look, I know that sounds a little mercenary if you're someone who genuinely loves helping people. But here's the thing. You cannot keep showing up for others at full capacity if you're running on empty. Getting paid for what you do is not selling out. It's sustainability. Okay, moving on. Practical hook. This week, one conversation, one situation, one context where you would normally give your full gift for free, pause before you do. Ask yourself, is this an exchange or is this a drain? That pause is where the Page of Pentacles starts working. The Nine of Wands. This one stopped me, because this is one of the most misread cards in the deck. And in this position, it's saying something I really need you to hear. The figure in this card is not weak. They are not losing. They are battle-worn, but still standing, still there. And what I see when this card lands for someone like you is not someone who is struggling. It's someone who has been giving out everything they have for a very long time and has not been nearly as careful about what they let back in. Being someone who feels everything, who reads every room the moment you walk into it, who picks up on what's underneath every interaction, that does not come with an off switch. Every room, every person, every conversation, it all lands in your body, in your nervous system, whether you chose to absorb it or not. Some of you are tired in a way that sleep hasn't been fixing. You've been calling it stress, or a busy season, or just a lot going on. But you know the difference between tired from working and tired from absorbing. They don't feel the same. The Nine of Wands is not telling you to push through. It is asking you to get honest about what has been getting in, and to get a lot more deliberate about what you allow access to you. Not everyone who wants your attention deserves your energy. Those are not the same thing. Some of the people with the most access to you right now are not people who refill you. They leave you quieter, heavier, smaller. And you've been allowing it because saying no felt unkind. It is not unkind. It is necessary. Then the Four of Swords came in right behind it, and that pairing is one of the most direct things I've seen come through in a while. The Four of Swords is not about giving up. It's about deliberate, chosen stillness. The figure is not collapsed. They are laid down with intention, recovering on purpose. Here's what this pairing is saying straight out. The gift that is coming online for you, the one that June is going to make visible, runs on clarity, on the quality of your attention. And that can only be high when your system is not running on empty. Where are you letting energy in that you didn't choose? The person who vents for an hour and leaves lighter while you hold everything they put down? The content you consume late at night that leaves you wired? The conversation that always ends the same way and always costs you the same thing? For someone wired the way you are, those are not small things. They are significant. Practical hook. Pick one boundary this week. Not a whole overhaul. One. One person, one habit, one situation where you're going to choose differently. Build the container, one small wall at a time. That's how the Four of Swords actually works. The Empress. Okay, and I need to clear something up about this card right away because the way people talk about it drives me a little crazy. This is not a card about sitting back and letting things happen. It is not about comfort or patience as a passive thing. What it's actually about is the specific kind of power that comes from being fully in it, present with what you're growing, tending it actively, not rushing it and not forcing it, but absolutely not checked out either. That is exactly where you are right now. Some of you have been reading this season as slow, as stuck, as behind. And here's what the Empress is saying about that. You are not behind. You are in the middle of something real. And the middle of something real does not look like the finish line. Growth doesn't announce itself while it's happening. The version of you being built right now, the one who can actually hold what June is going to bring, cannot be rushed. She is being grown, and you are the conditions she's growing in. Stop treating this phase like a waiting room. It is not a waiting room. It is the work. Then the Eight of Pentacles came in, and honestly, this was the pairing I didn't know I needed to see. The Eight of Pentacles is not flashy. It shows a figure bent over their work, not distracted, not performing for anyone, not waiting to be noticed. Just doing the thing again, getting better with every repetition. Not because someone's watching, because that's what mastery actually looks like up close. The quiet work you're doing right now, the private work, the work no one is applauding, is not filler. It is the specific process of you getting good at what you carry. Moving from having a gift to actually knowing how to use it. Sensitivity without skill is just feeling everything with no way to direct it. The intuition, the depth, the ability to read what's true. That's the raw material. The Eight of Pentacles is asking for the refinement, the practice, the willingness to keep showing up even when you can't see yet what you're building. The version of you who arrives in June is being built right now, by exactly what you do with this season. Practical hook. What is one skill directly connected to your gift that you could go deeper on this month? Not broader, deeper. One thing. Go find one resource, one practice, one way to get more fluent in the thing you already carry. That is the Eight of Pentacles in action. The Sun came in for this final position, and I'm going to be honest with you. When this card landed here, I just sat with it for a second. Because out of every card in this deck, the Sun is the one that does not hedge. It does not come with a condition. It does not say maybe, or if you do everything right, or eventually, if conditions allow. It is the most unambiguous card in the deck. And it came in here, in this spot, for you. What is coming is not a small upgrade. It is not a modest improvement on what you've already had. It is a full shift. The kind where you look back at the version of yourself sitting here right now, and you get it. You understand, completely, that everything you went through was not punishment. It was preparation. Every season that felt too long, every door that stayed closed, every moment you kept going with no guarantee it was worth it, all of it was building the foundation that this arrival needs. June 2026. A specific month. A specific turning point. Before and after. Some of you have been told, by circumstances, by people, by your own protective instincts, to want less, to be more realistic, to stop holding out for the version of the life that actually felt like yours. And somewhere along the way, part of you started to believe it, started treating the big wanting as naive, built in just enough skepticism so that when things didn't arrive, you wouldn't fall as far. The Sun does not arrive for people who made themselves small enough to be safe. It arrives for people who kept the wanting alive even when it made no practical sense. That is you. And this card is the direct answer to that. Then the Ten of Pentacles came in, and that pairing is the most complete thing I have pulled in a long time. The Ten of Pentacles is not about a moment. It is about a life. The whole picture. Abundance that is real and lasting and built on something solid. Love that has depth and warmth and doesn't need to perform for anyone. Recognition that doesn't disappear after one good week. Genuine, sustained, you've arrived acknowledgement of who you are and what you bring. Everything you've been working toward. Not as separate goals you chase down one at a time, as a life that shows up as a whole. Financial freedom here is not a number, it's a feeling. The feeling of not making decisions from fear anymore, of choosing how you spend your time because it lines up with who you are. That word enough, losing its anxious edge and just becoming true. The love in this card is settled, chosen, the kind where you are fully known and fully wanted, not in spite of your depth and your sensitivity, but because of it. Because you stopped apologizing for those things, and the right people were right there. The recognition compounds, starts in June and builds into something permanent. And you'll be ready, not because you performed your way into it, but because the work of this season made you someone who can hold it without flinching. Practical hook. One thing. What is one area, money, love, or recognition, where you have been letting yourself want only a smaller version of what you actually want? Write it down. Write the real version, the whole one. Because the Ten of Pentacles does not deliver the edited version. It delivers the full one. But you have to be able to say it first. Every single card in this reading has been saying the same thing from a different angle. The world said, "You were always going somewhere real. Stop acting like you stumbled here." The Ace of Wands said, "The fire is already lit. Pick it up and go." The Four of Cups and the Moon said, "The sensitivity you've been apologizing for is the whole gift. Stop minimizing it." The Six of Wands said, "The recognition is already in motion and June is the month." The Page of Pentacles said, "Use what you carry on purpose and get paid for it. That is not selling out. That is showing up." The Nine of Wands said, "Be deliberate about what gets access to you. Not everyone who wants your attention deserves your energy." The Four of Swords said, "Rest is the condition, not the reward. Build the container." The Empress said, "You are in the middle of real growth right now. Be here for it, not checked out waiting for it to be over." The Eight of Pentacles said, "Go deeper, not faster. The craft is the path." The Sun said, "What is coming is real. It is yours, and it does not come with conditions." The Ten of Pentacles said, "This is the whole picture. Financial freedom, love, recognition. A life that is finally, completely, actually yours." That is not a collection of themes. That is one story, and it is yours. You are not at the beginning of this. You are deep in it, closer to the arrival than you have been letting yourself admit out loud. The long seasons, the quiet work, the keeping going when nothing was confirming it was worth it, none of that was wasted. It was all building something. And what it was building is the life that June 2026 is going to make real. You have done the hard part. What is coming is not more proving. It is receiving. It is the exhale after the long hold. It is June arriving and you finally understanding, without needing to argue yourself into it, that you were always the person this was meant for. You were. You are. That hasn't changed. It's not changing now. Don't let this be something you watch and forget by tomorrow. Drop a comment right now. Tell me which card hit the hardest. Tell me what you're choosing to receive. Write it out in the comments, where it's real and witnessed and not just a quiet thought you let dissolve before it could take root. Tell me what you're done carrying. Tell me what June means to you. I read every single comment, every one, and there is something about naming it out loud in a space like this. It makes it more real. Let it be more real. Like this video if it reached you. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Not as a favor to me, but because coming back to this kind of energy on purpose and consistently is part of how the momentum builds. You keep choosing the frequency you want to live in, and eventually it stops being somewhere you visit and starts being somewhere you live. The turn is already happening. June is already on its way. The only question left is whether you're going to let it be as good as it actually is, without shrinking it, without one more round of proving, without waiting until you're absolutely certain before you allow yourself to want it all the way. You are certain enough. You always were. So much love to every single one of you. See you in the next one.